Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Tori. Today we are going to be doing the last book haul before my official TBR and book buying ban / habit changing behavior. So the reason why we have one more book haul is because my birthday was at the end of May and also my anniversary was here in the beginning of June, and my husband and I always make it a kind of yearly tradition to go out and go bookstore shopping together on those holidays. So I do have some books that I purchased and was sent for my birthday, some for the anniversary, etc., etc. So I want to share those with you guys today. And then after this, if you haven't been watching my recent videos, I did a TBR game where I decided my June TBR, and I am shifting over to a system now where I will be basically earning rewards as I read. And it's just a way to gamify the experience, change up the book buying habits a little bit. I have some incredible books in this haul. I'm very excited to show them to you guys, so let's get going. The first thing that I want to show you guys in this book haul isn't even a book. This was a gift from my mother and father-in-law to Ben and I for our 15th anniversary this year to put up on our shelves, and it is this absolutely beautiful wood carved and burned plaque that reads the Tekken Library, established on our anniversary 2010, which is absolutely beautiful. You will probably see it behind me or have seen it behind me in a couple of my videos already. And I absolutely love this. It is absolutely beautiful, and I'm so excited to have this on the shelves. And someday, if we move our library into an actual room of our house, which would be lovely, then this is obviously going to be a very treasured keepsake. So I want to start this video with a book that I was sent as a review copy, and that is Mercy, Tears of the Fallen, Chance Dillon. I don't typically take review copies too often anymore. I buy a lot of books from the indie community and just read them when I can get to them, because it is really hard for me to commit to a timeline at this point in my reading life. But Chance and I had quite a few conversations leading up to this, and this was one that I know was heavily inspired by his love of Malazan Book of the Fallen, which is exciting, and I'm really looking forward to getting to this. This book comes out in July 2025, so I'm very excited to get to it. Hopefully the month it comes out, we'll see if I can fit it into the TBR. But I want to show you guys how pretty this book is. It's signed, but look at this map on the inside. We love a good map on this channel, and look at the artwork. I love a book that has illustrations immediately inside the paperback, so that it's not something that's like a special edition, but it makes it a special edition just by buying the regular paperback, and I absolutely love that. So that is really beautiful, and I think there's actually, yeah, look at this. It's in the different parts of the book. It's set up. I'm a big nerd about this kind of stuff. I love formatting the interior of books really pretty like this. So I love to see that Chance really went the whole 9 yards with his debut and made it a beautiful paperback. So Chance, thank you so much for passing this along to me. I'm really looking forward to reading it, and I wish you all the best with your release in July. Excuse me. Now I'm going to go into the books that were either sent to me, given to me for my birthday, books that we purchased with gift cards, or on our May birthday and June anniversary bookstore shopping trips. So the first one that I'm going to show you guys is this one. This is the TMNT IDW Volume 1 of the graphic novel, the comics. The graphic novel of the comics. And this is volume 1. There are quite a few different volumes within this omnibus edition. I have probably had this book on my wish list for the last 3 years, and I finally was like, I have an Amazon gift card and it is time. I have wanted this on my shelves for so long. I'm a huge TMNT fan, and of course, I can't say no when the cover of volume 1 is my favorite character from the series, Raphael, obviously. One of the things that I want to show you guys that's super cool about this edition specifically, and I'm guessing it's true of the rest of the series as well, is if you look at the spine, it's designed like a katana or wakizashi hilt, and I love that detail so much, I can't handle it. And now I'm imagining that all of the other books in the series also have this style of a spine and are in different colors. So it's literally going to look like a row of different colored katanas across the shelf. And I'm nerding out more than a little bit about it. So I wanted to show you guys this. I'm really excited to read these. I'm a big fan of the 2000s TMNT TV show. That is my TMNT. I am super excited to get back to the world of the turtles at some point. I think this is going to be a great comfort read for me, maybe even this summer, and I'm just psyched to have this on my shelf because that is probably the most beautiful spine that I own. The next book is a book from my grandfather's collection, and this is called Wounded Tiger. This is based on the true story of Mitsuo Fushida's life, and Mitsuo Fushida was the lead pilot in the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, and this is a book that I'm really, really interested in because I just recently read All the Gallant Men by Donald Stratton, which was a incredibly powerful and moving account of Pearl Harbor from the perspective of a survivor from the Arizona battleship. And now reading the opposite end of Mitsuo Fushida's story, I think is going to be really interesting because Fushida was actually mentioned by name multiple times in Donald Stratton's book. So I'm really looking forward to checking this out. I think it's going to be a really powerful and interesting read and an important part of history for me, at least. This is an era that I'm really, really interested in. Next up was a very generous gift from my good friend Chris over at Christopher Navo, and that is this amazing trilogy of Seven Waters books by Juliette Merlier. We have Daughter of the Forest, which of course you guys know I absolutely love this book, and this is book 1 in her Seven Waters series. Book 2 is Son of the Shadows, and then book 3 is Child of the Prophecy. These are going to be so comfortable to read, you guys. I'm really psyched about it, and just want to give a huge thank you to my friend Chris Navo for this very generous birthday gift. I am so excited to continue this series, and I really appreciate the thoughtfulness of this gift, so thank you very much. Also for my birthday, I received a gift from my good friend Kayla from Kay's Hidden Shelf, and she grabbed a couple off my wish list that I'm really excited about. I mean, I'm excited about all the books on my wish list, let's be honest, but I got a little bit giddy when I opened the package for these. Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes. I have read this in the past, but it has been a really long time, and it's a book that I desperately want to get back to and reread at some point. And I had a long time ago a mass market paperback of this book, but I wanted the larger trade paperback version, and this one I'm holding on to for a rainy day when I need a good cry. I'll be picking this up. And then the second book that she sent me was A Natural History of Dragons, a memoir by Lady Trent. It's the first in the Lady Trent series by Marie Brennan. And this one, honestly, 5 years ago, I don't know that I would have been that interested in a book like this. And now I have really booktube to thank for this, but my reading taste has expanded so much more. I'm so excited about this book, you guys. I don't really know that much about it, and I'm okay keeping it that way. What I'm expecting and hoping for is something a little bit more alternate history, something that's a little bit more like discovering the wonder of a fantasy world alongside Lady Trent. And just looking at dragons from maybe a very different perspective than we get in a lot of the fantasy series that we pick up. So I'm super excited for this. And again, a huge thank you to my lovely friend Kay for sending me these 2 books for my birthday. On my birthday, my husband took me to Barnes & Noble and we had a gift card, and what I chose to pick up, I've been in a classics mood lately, you guys. I don't know what's happening, watch out. But I have been really interested in picking up some classics. And so I had a few on a list that I knew I wanted to get, and one of them was I wanted a really good, comfortable version of The Count of Monte Cristo. This is a high priority classic for me. I loved the film with Jim Caviezel and is it Guy Pearce, I think? When I was a kid, I grew up with that. This is one of my dad's favorite stories of all time. And I've still never read the book, which is fine. But I need to, and I really want to. So this is one of those chunkier classics that I'm kind of saving for the moment when that mood strikes, because I'm really excited to read this. And this signature edition, so with chonkier classics like this, these are books that I'm really hesitant about because I don't want to order them online, because I don't know what kind of quality I'm going to get. I don't know how stiff the binding is going to be. This, for how big of a book this is, you guys, I have to say these signature editions from Union Square are really nice. They are really comfortable to hold. They have really nice soft covers, and for, again, how chonky this is, it's very comfortable. So this is going to be an edition that I think is going to be a lot more pleasant for me to read. I'm so ready to dig into the story. I can't wait. This is going to be a priority read for me in 2026 if I haven't gotten to it by then. And I can't wait. The second book that I bought on our Barnes & Noble birthday trip was All Quiet on the Western Front. This one is much shorter than The Count of Monte Cristo, but again, Union Square signature classic editions, which honestly, I'm at a point where I kind of want to like get more of these because they're really nice. This might be one of my favorite classics series editions that I've seen in bookstores so far, and I've tried quite a few different ones. I like the covers, I like how comfortable they are to hold and to read. This is a book I'm really interested in because it tackles the experience of World War I through the eyes of a German soldier. And I have heard raving reviews about this book. I know that it is a very commonly recommended World War in general book, and this is one that I think I'd like to get to sooner rather than later because I'm super interested in it, and I think it's going to be a very sobering but very impactful read. And again, amazing signature edition classic, and I'm really looking forward to checking this one out. Now shifting forward to our anniversary book trip. We still had a gift card for Barnes & Noble, so I did pick up a few other ones, but before we went to Barnes & Noble, we actually stopped by a Goodwill. Depending on where you go, they can have a pretty decent book selection, especially for more popular books or classics or books that are a little bit older that you've been kind of waiting to purchase for a while. And continuing the classics bent, I picked up this copy of Dracula. This is Barnes & Noble Classic Edition, which is another one that I do like. I think that these are also very comfortable, very solid quality books. I think I like the signature editions a little bit better, but at this point I just wanted a copy of Dracula that was going to be comfortable to read, and this one is definitely going to fit that criteria. The other one that I picked up was The Essential Tales and Poems of Edgar Allan Poe. I have been a fairly big Poe fan since college and really loved a lot of his work when I read it for the first time in my fiction classes. And I've never owned like a full just compendium of his work. And this one obviously isn't everything that he's done, but I think it's a lot of the major ones. There are poems in here, there are short stories in here, there are essays in here. I'm not sure if my favorite one is in here, I should look. My favorite Poe story, for those who are interested and have read it, is one that is less well known, and that is The Mask of the Red Death. That is one that I read in college, and I actually wrote a kind of fan fiction, essentially. One of our assignments in that class was to take one of Edgar Allan Poe's stories or poetry pieces and write our own version of it, do something different with it. And that was still to this day one of my favorite assignments in college. Not surprising, but I had so much fun, and The Mask of the Red Death was the short story that I chose to write my piece off of. So anyways, The Essential Poems and Tales of Edgar Allan Poe. I don't see it in here, so I might have to get another version of his works and just have multiple copies. But again, Barnes & Noble Signature Classic Edition. It's a comfortable book. The font is not too small. So these are pretty decent classic editions as well. More classics. When we went to Barnes & Noble, I picked up a copy of The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. This has been on my list for a really long time, and I know that it is a very polarizing and often controversial classic. I'm really curious. I want to read it and just see what I think of it. The premise, especially at the time it was written, is very intriguing to me, and I want to see how Hawthorne tackled that with the sensibilities he had at the time, and see if there's anything interesting to be gleaned from it. So I picked up this version, which these are the Penguin Classics. These are also okay. These are very easy to read in terms of the font, and they're still pretty, you know, floppy and comfortable. So I do like these as well, and they're fairly affordable depending on the book. And then I got another signature edition. So I had read Virginia Woolf's A Room of One's Own a while ago, like last year, and I liked aspects of it, but I also didn't love it as much as I was hoping to, but I still wanted to try at least one more Virginia Woolf. And when I read the synopsis of To the Lighthouse, which is one of her novels, that really intrigued me, and it's pretty short. So, and also I really like this cover, weirdly. I'm not sure why, but I gravitated to it right away when I saw it on the shelf. So yeah, I want to try some of her fiction and see if I connect better with that. So that was my last classic on our book outing for our anniversary and my birthday. The last thing that I purchased for our anniversary trip was a fantasy book, and it is Foundryside by Robert Jackson Bennett. I had heard that this was a fantasy heist, and I think the reason why I got confused about The Tainted Cup being a fantasy heist, it's a fantasy mystery. This one is a fantasy heist. So I got them confused, and that's why I was talking about The Tainted Cup, thinking that it was a fantasy heist. You guys know that I have said multiple times on my channel that I love the mashup of fantasy mystery, fantasy heist, anything like that. I love that genre mashup. And so when I found out Foundryside was fantasy heist, I was like, well, and it's not that long. I think there's 3 books in the series, so we'll see how I feel about book 1. I don't know if I'm going to read this one before I read The Tainted Cup. I haven't decided yet, but in either case, I'm looking forward to reading Foundryside. All right, now we're going to get to the stack of books that I purchased. Now, everything on this list is either something that I am replacing a smaller mass market paperback with, or it's something that is a continuation of a series I've already read. I also got a really beautiful special edition that I'm excited to show you guys. So let's dig in to this stack of books. There's only, I think, 2 books in this whole stack that were something I've never read and haven't read from the author before. So I purchased this edition of Ender's Game to replace my mass market paperback, and it matches the edition of Ender's Shadow that I have, which I really like. And this one is definitely has been around. It's got a life story, which I really like. It's very worn in, and I'm the type of person who really loves that in a book sometime, especially a book like this, which has a lot of nostalgic value for me. So I got Ender's Game to replace my mass market paperback. Then, continuing to add to my paperback City Watch collection, I got Guards by Terry Pratchett, which I read at the very beginning of last year, and unless you've been living under a rock with my channel, you will know that the City Watch is one of my newest favorite fantasy series, and this is book 1. And I'm actually really excited to go back and reread it and mark up this paperback and really dig in, because when I read Guards for the first time in January of 2024, I didn't know what I was starting. I didn't know the journey that I was gonna embark on with this series. And so going back and rereading Guards with that love of the series firmly in place, I think it's gonna be a really fun reading experience. So Guards, ready for whenever I'm ready to reread it. Then we have the second copy of Daughter of the Forest in this book haul. This is a UK edition of Daughter of the Forest, and I saw it on Blackwell's when I was purchasing something else, and I love this cover, you guys. I love how simplistic and beautiful and silhouetted this cover is. So I added it to my collection because we cannot have too many copies of the books that we love, right? Right. Next is the one mass market paperback that I purchased. I haven't purchased a mass market paperback for a while, you guys, and this one is Sporting Chance by Elizabeth Moon. So if you guys saw my wrap-up from last month, I read Hunting Party by Elizabeth Moon, which is the first book in the Serrano legacy. This one is book 2, and I liked it so much, and I'm still thinking about it almost a month later, which is a great sign, that I went ahead and ordered the mass market paperback of book 2 because the only other option is, I think, like really rare hardcovers. I don't know, I didn't look into it too much, but you know what, it's small enough. I am willing for Miss Elizabeth Moon to read a mass market paperback, so I hope that is a compliment of the highest order to her. But I'm really looking forward to reading this and jumping back into her quirky sci-fi space opera world, because the first one was a blast. Next up is another book that has been languishing on my TBR for an embarrassingly long time, and I finally just ordered it, and I'm so glad I did. Conspiracy by A.C. Cobble. This I got from Merrick Books, and it came with a lovely bookmark. And I just have a feeling I'm really going to enjoy this book. I have been recommended it quite a few times by quite a few different people. And this copy, you guys, is absolutely beautiful. The chapter headers look beautiful. There is artwork. Let me see if I can find one. Well, there's artwork in the beginning. And there's a beautiful map in the beginning. Yeah. There's illustrations like every 50 to 100 pages in here. Here's another one. It's an absolutely beautiful book. And again, I love when an author takes the time to make their regular paperback editions look this nice. It's really beautiful, and it is completely achievable as an author. And I just think that is such a cool extra touch. So, Conspiracy by A.C. Cobble is going up on the shelves. Next is the only two books that were completely unrelated to any author that I have read before, and it's not continuing a series for me, and that is these two books. Oop, I'm going to lose all of my bookmarks and things. The first one is Mission of the Roark, I think is how you say that. This is a short sci-fi by Erica Evren, who is an author that I am involved in a super secret cool project with some other authors that will be coming up more later this year. I can't specifically say what it is yet, but and I've been wanting to read some of the work of the authors who are in this project with me. So I started with Erica, and book 2 is Echoes of Destiny, and the series is called the Arcarian series. Now, I know absolutely nothing about these. I don't even think I read the synopsis, because I was like, it's sci-fi, it's an author that I'm working with, and these seem really cool. I've been following her Instagram for a while, and they're short, and we love a short sci-fi. So I'm looking forward to reading both of these. She sent me a whole bunch of really beautiful goodies and bookmarks. Really cool foiled bookmarks. I don't know if that's going to come across, but there's like silver foiling on the bookmarks. Super cool. So huge thank you to Erica. I'm really excited to get to those. And then this was purely a vanity purchase, if I'm being totally honest, but I'm not mad about it. I bought the hardcover editions of By Blood, by Salt and A Haunt for Jackals, book 1 and 2 of Land of Exile by J.L. Odom. I absolutely love this series so much, and I am waiting for that third book with very little patience. No pressure, Jamie. But you guys, I love these books. I love these books. These are phenomenal. These are some of the best indie books that I have read in my entire career on BookTube, and I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. These books, I'm trying not to make these books my entire personality right now, but we're crossing some lines, I think. If you haven't read them yet, please go read By Blood, by Salt and A Haunt for Jackals. Jamie is an incredible writer, and you should definitely try them. But I bought the hardcovers simply to put on my display shelves with my other favorite series, and they're pretty, so that's my excuse. Next up, I replaced my mass market paperback of A Plague of Giants by Kevin Hearn with this UK edition larger trade paperback. And you guys, this thing, again, if I'm going to read a chunky book like this, I want it to be comfortable, I want it to be super floppy, and this feels amazing. I'm looking forward to reading this even more because this copy of it is so nice. And I don't know, this one I've heard a lot of really positive things about. It's been on my TBR for quite a while, and very high up on my TBR for a while. So I don't actually know how many books are in the series. I know there's at least 3. I think it's a trilogy, but correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on that. Really excited to get to this, especially now that I have a much more comfortable copy. All right, then I have this little number, which is Songs of the Dark by Anthony Ryan. This is short fiction from his Raven Shadow and Raven's Mark world. I've actually read one of the short novellas in this edition, and that is Many Are the Dead. I just read that this month. There's some really cool illustrations in here, and there are 4 total stories. And I'm really excited to read more of them. I really enjoyed Many Are the Dead. I thought it was really good and a great addition to kind of get me back into that world as I go to continue the Raven Shadow series with Tower Lord, hopefully in the near future. But I'm really excited to read these. It's not a very big book, even though it has 4 stories in it, and it'll be a good supplement to the rest of the series. Last but not least, I got my first ever Broken Binding subscription book this last month in May, end of May, I think. And that, of course, is The Magician Rift War Saga Book 1 by Raymond E. Feist. This is a really beautiful book, you guys. I love the colors in this so much. I love that they have the quotes on the back of a lot of these. The end papers of these books, absolutely beautiful. And I'm going to show you the naked hardcover as well, because it's one of my favorite things about this book. Look at these illustrations, you guys. The artists involved in this special edition, huge kudos. They absolutely knocked it out of the park. But look at this naked hardcover with the dragon. I mean, absolutely beautiful. I have not read the Rift War Saga yet, but this makes me want to read it a heck of a lot more. The one thing that I will say about some of the Broken Binding books that I am kind of less positive on is I do feel like in order to make the books bigger and more impressive on a shelf, they make the interior font really large. I don't know that that's necessary, and it is something that kind of frustrates me a little bit because I don't like having giant, like, large print font. What feels like large print font in the special edition. I don't think it's necessary. And I've seen that now in a couple of their special editions. But other than that, this is an absolutely stunning book. And it's making me more excited to read the Rift War Saga just because it's so pretty. So that is my first official Broken Binding subscription book, and I'm excited to see the rest of the series. I'm really excited for the announcement of whatever series they're planning on doing after this, and I'm kind of doing it on a trial basis to see, you know, if I jive with the series that they're putting out. They have done quite a few of my favorite series already, so it'll be interesting to see what they do going forward. I would love, you guys, I would love to see them do Lois McMaster Bujold's World of the Five Gods trilogy with Curse of Shalion, Paladin of Souls, and The Hallowed Hunt. I think that would be an incredible trilogy for them to do, so I'm crossing my fingers for that one. But this is a beautiful first experience with the Broken Binding subscription, and yeah, I wanted to show that one off a little bit because it's really beautiful. I'm really looking forward to reading all of these, honestly. I can't wait. And some of them I've already read or have already read their predecessor. I would love to know if you've gotten any fun finds in this last couple of months. Let me know down in the comments below. I hope that you guys are having a fantastic week. I hope that you are reading some 5-star reads, and I will see you in the next video.